Hurricane Milton has unleashed powerful winds, tornadoes and torrential rain onto Florida as it makes its way across the U.S. state. It's the third hurricane to hit Florida this year and has knocked out power for more than 3 million homes and businesses. It was downgraded to a Category 1 storm after making landfall as a Category 3 on Wednesday night. But it has maintained its intensity. It's now exiting Florida's east coast, heading into the Atlantic Ocean, where it's likely to weaken gradually. But officials warn the situation does remain dangerous. Parts of Florida are still under warning for flash floods as heavy rains continue to lash much of the state's central region. Tidal surges are expected to inundate the western region. The extent of destruction is unclear, with authorities waiting for daylight to assess conditions. Some 9,000 National Guard personnel have been deployed to assist in recovery efforts. Our search and rescue teams are also on standby. Even before the storm came ashore, Milton spawned a surprising and deadly spate of tornadoes. At least 2 people had died after one of these tornadoes struck a retirement community in eastern Florida. Milton comes hot on the heels of another major hurricane, Helene, which devastated Florida and other southeastern states 2 weeks ago. Both storms are expected to cause billions of dollars in damage. And when we're joined by Mitch McCann reporting live from Jacksonville, Florida. Mitch, reports of deaths, we just heard there, destruction as well. And as we just mentioned, waiting for daylight before it's clear the extent of that destruction.
Yeah, that's right. Good morning from Florida, where, as you can see, it's still very wet. It's still very windy here, even hours after the storm arrived to the state. The sun has only really risen in the last 20 minutes, so it's still early days for a number of people in towns and communities affected here to find out how bad it has been, to find out the extent of the damage. People only beginning to realise that now. But as you said, there have been reports of fatalities in the southeastern community of St. Lucie County. That's where there is a retirement community. It's understood a number of people were living in mobile homes there. We don't have a number in terms of how many people sadly died, but we know there were also a number of water rescues there as well. Now, some other facts that we've found out this morning. 3 million people in the state are still without power. No electricity for much of the state at the moment. And there have been 2 large incidents in terms of infrastructure damage. A large crane toppled over in St. Petersburg, Florida, onto another building, causing extensive damage. And there was also a situation where much of the roof was blown off of Tropicana Field in Tampa, Florida. Now, that is a large stadium. It is home to the Tampa Bay Rays Major League Baseball stadium. So the roof of that stadium practically blown off overnight. But as I say, as the sun rises here and people begin to look around their towns and communities, we are going to find out more in terms of the extent of the damage from Hurricane Milton.
The extent of the damage would be human cost, loss to property, but there's also, from past hurricanes, we know a political cost when these storms happen, whether in terms of preparation and in terms of rescue and recovery after. With U.S. elections less than 4 weeks away, has there been any political cost that is evident so far?
Well, there certainly has been political implications already. In a practical sense, when we look at voting, which is only a couple of weeks away, we can look at states like Georgia and North Carolina to see how they've been adapting, because some of these communities live where polling stations were going to be. They are now practically destroyed in some places. One of the biggest changes we've seen in those states after Hurricane Helene has been that there's going to be teams going out to take absentee votes for people that can't get to the polling station. So that's in a practical sense. But when it comes to sort of political situation between the candidates, this has been political. Donald Trump, the Republican, and Kamala Harris have both been visiting affected communities. And one of the biggest issues has been misinformation. The White House has really been trying to counteract misinformation, they say, has frequently becoming from places like Donald Trump and the Republicans. So something that they're trying to work on. There is misinformation going around that some of the money that's supposed to be dedicated to communities affected is actually going to illegal immigrants. That has been fact-checked as being false. Another Republican said on social media or has suggested that the weather has been manufactured or engineered by humans, possibly by the government, was the inference there, which is obviously not true as well. So a lot of information being mixed up here, a lot of mis and disinformation as they try and really help these communities and take this away from a political situation.
Well, thanks for that. Mitch McCann reporting live from Jacksonville, Florida.